Welcome to the Calm Mom Podcast, the show for ambitious women ready to get off the hot mess express. I know you've got a lot going on. You work so hard, you're raising an incredible family, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. I'm your host, Michelle Grosser. I'm a certified master life coach, attorney, wife, and mom. And years ago, I was right where you are. I was running a busy law practice while raising a family, and I was on the fast track to burnout. I thought I just needed to be more organized or have better routines, but it was learning how to heal and regulate my nervous system that expanded my capacity to gracefully hold more of this big, beautiful life. You too are worthy of an extraordinary life in and beyond motherhood. Learning to be a calm, anchoring presence in your home and at work is going to be your superpower. If you're here to do the inner work that brings a sense of calm amidst the chaos, I'm here to join you on that journey. Each time you press play, your growth continues. So let's get at it. What's up, you guys? Welcome to the Calm Mom Podcast. Michelle Grosser here, your master coach. Thank you for spending some time with us today. Today, we're going to talk about some red flags that our nervous system may be communicating to us that as moms, we should not ignore. As human beings, we shouldn't ignore, but especially as moms, we shouldn't ignore. But before we jump into that, I want to ask you a favor. If you listen to the show, if you've enjoyed it, if you've gotten anything out of it, I want to ask if you would leave the show a 5-star rating and maybe even a short review. It takes just a couple seconds, but it's really the best way that you can thank me for all of this content. And it's also the best way that we can get this show in front of other moms just like you. Other moms who are feeling overwhelmed or anxious or on the brink of burnout and are really looking for some encouragement and some resources and this community. So if you could take 30 seconds today, leave the show a 5-star rating and a short review, I would be so grateful. You guys are the best. All right, so let's talk about it. Our nervous system and our body is always communicating with us, right? It's communicating with us somatically. There are somatic cues that our body is giving us. For example, when we are approaching dysregulation or when we are feeling certain emotions arising, our body sends us cues of that, right? For example, maybe our heart starts racing, or we feel like a lump in our throat, or we start to feel tears welling up in our eyes, or like our hands clench, right, into fists, or like whatever it is, our body is communicating to us that something is going on. And the thing is that because we are so busy and because we are so out of touch with our bodies, so disconnected from our bodies, we often miss a lot of those somatic cues. Our body also communicates with us through our emotions, right? Like if we're feeling angry, that could be an indication that we feel like something is wrong or a boundary is being crossed or something is unfair. If we're feeling sadness, if we're feeling grief, like there's communication in all of those emotions, right? Even think, for example, like, I don't know, have you ever woken up and your jaw is just so tight? Or like you get through the end of the day and you're like, oh my gosh, my jaw is so tight. Or like my neck is killing me today, right? Or my upper back, my shoulders are so tight, or I have a headache today, or I'm noticing that my legs feel really jittery today. Those are all somatic cues. Those are all ways that our body is communicating to us. So as we grow in that somatic awareness, as we just grow in noticing these signals, it's so powerful because these signals carry a message. And we want to be able to pay attention to what is being communicated. Because I know for you and for me, like, guys, we've got a lot going on. We've got a lot going on. So I want to talk about some red flags today that our nervous system may be communicating with us that I think is really important that we don't ignore. When we notice these pop up, we have this awareness, then we can make a conscious choice whether we want to do something about it or not, right? So we notice, we have the awareness. If you guys listen to the show, you hear me say all the time, awareness precedes choice. Like we cannot do anything about that which we don't know exists, right? So as we grow in that awareness of flags, red flags that our nervous system is sending to us and get curious about the messages that's being sent, Like, guys, that's how we form new neural pathways. That's how we end up like not losing our ever loving minds on our kids all the time or on our husband. It's how we end up protecting ourselves and preventing burnout. And when we don't do these things, when we start to ignore these subtle and maybe sometimes not so subtle signs and ways our body is telling us to pay attention, take better care of ourselves, right? Get some rest, ask for help, slow down. And we just keep pushing harder and through it, right? And just ignoring what's going on in our body. Eventually our body's just going to make the decision for us. And it's just going to be like, nope, I'm tapping out. I'm done. And that's how we really end up in a place of burnout or yelling at our kids or, whatever it is that comes up as a result of ignoring these red flags from our nervous system. So let's go through it. I have 3 here. I think these are important. I think they're also red flags that are frequently communicated to us by our nervous system. So you might resonate with one of them. You might resonate with all of them. But if you do, that's beautiful because you now have this new awareness. You're like, whoa, when this happens and I'm noticing it now, my body's trying to tell me something. And you can get curious about what that might be. So the first nervous system red flag that moms should not ignore is if you start noticing that you're having unusual sensory overload. So if you are someone who is not typically overwhelmed by the things of your senses, but then you start notice like, whoa, I like walk into this room and I feel like these lights are way too bright in my kitchen today, right? And you go and you dim the lights. Or I'm noticing that everything feels so loud right now. Like I cannot stand another sound. And you're telling everyone to quiet down and you're going around and you're like muting the TVs or turning down the music that's playing or whatever's going on. Or sometimes, and I'll speak for myself on this one, I can get overloaded on all of these things, but especially on touch, you guys. Like there are times, and maybe you relate to this too, where I'm just like, I cannot be touched by another human being right now, or I'm going to just lose it. Right? Like I'll tell my kids, I'm like, hey, you know what? My body's feeling like it's been touched a lot today. Could you sit next to me instead of climbing on my head today or right now at least? Or I'll just go in my room by myself and have a few minutes of stillness, laying with no dogs and no humans. And it helps me to regulate. But I notice that when I'm feeling, overstimulated and overwhelmed by all of these sensory things, that my body's trying to communicate something to me. So other indications that your nervous system is communicating sensory overload could be that you notice you're really startling easy, right? Someone comes into a room and they're just making normal conversation and you're like, it startles you, right? Or someone like touches you and it startles you. You can notice that you're getting really irritable because of noise or lights or touch. All of these things, when they're making you angry, they're making you irritable. You're not crazy. Like that is your nervous system sending you a message. There's too much going on right now. There's too much coming at you right now. You're living on the edge right now of your window of tolerance. Give your body what it needs. Give your nervous system what it needs. Some rest, some space, maybe some movement, maybe some stillness, maybe some play to help bring yourself back to regulation and away from that edge of your capacity. Another thing as it relates to sensory overload, and this is another one that I experience often, and maybe you guys do too, is when I am overstimulated, when I have been doing too much or going too much or having too many people around me, frankly, I get really sensitive to like my clothing, the texture of my clothing, how tight my clothes are. Like I can get angry, you guys, just wearing like tight jeans. Does that happen to anybody else? Like I'll just like put on a pair of jeans that are too tight, or like I've been wearing them and I was fine when I put them on, and then I get home at the end of the day and I'm like just like ripping them, like they can't come off soon enough, right? And I just like throw on a pair of loose sweatpants and I'm like, I feel so much better. Sometimes with my jewelry, right? Sometimes it's like I can wear jewelry and it's fine. And other days I'll notice if I put on like a pair of hoop earrings or like bangle bracelets, or even sometimes just my watch, and it just feels irritating to me, that's a somatic cue. that is my body telling me, I can take all of this stuff off, but more than that, I've got to give myself some rest. I've got to give myself some space. I've got to give myself some quiet. I have to take care of my nervous system because it's telling me through all of these sensitivities that there's something going on there. So that's number one. A nervous system red flag that us moms shouldn't ignore is just this unusual sensory overload. Number two, the second red flag from our nervous system that we shouldn't ignore as moms are some physical symptoms of dysregulation. So there are mental and emotional symptoms of a dysregulated nervous system. Things like anxiety or procrastination or people pleasing or brain fog or chronic tiredness, right? Just a sense of exhaustion. These are all mental and emotional symptoms of dysregulation, irritability, edginess, emotional volatility. But there are also physical symptoms of dysregulation, right? These things, this dysregulation, it doesn't just impact our emotions. It doesn't just impact our mental state. It has a huge impact on our physiology because what's happening in our nervous system is sending signals to our brain about whether we are safe or not. And if our brain is perceiving some sort of threat, some sort of danger, some sort of stress, it's going to communicate to our endocrine system to release all of these hormones and chemicals that will help our body either fight or run to stay safe, right? So our brain releases cortisol and it releases adrenaline and it releases all these different things. It moves our blood supply away from our non-essential organs, right? Away from like our gut and our digestion, and it redistributes that blood to our extremities so we can mobilize, and to our heart so we can run or we can fight. But the thing is that so often we are stuck in this state of chronic stress. We are stuck in this response of fight or flight, and we don't actually need to fight or run, right? So what happens to all of that going on in our physiology is it has an impact on our health, on our physical body. So some of the red flags in our physical body that you might have experienced that are symptoms that your nervous system is communicating to you, hey, something's going on here. I need to feel safe so I can move back to regulation. You gotta slow down, right? It's telling you to do something. Here are some of those physical symptoms. One, if you have unexplained body aches and pains, joint pain, you just wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, my neck feels so tight, my back, there's just this tension and this tightness, my joints, right? My elbows and my knees or my feet, my ankles are kind of feeling achy and pain today. That is a symptom. That could be a symptom that your nervous system is communicating to you that it's overwhelmed, it's dysregulated. Another one is if you experience chronic gut issues, bloating, gas, IBS. A lot of that stuff, guys, is rooted in chronic nervous system dysregulation. And it's for the same reason that I just spoke about, because when we are in a regulated state, when we're in that ventral vagal state, the nickname for that state is called rest and digest. Our body will properly digest our food when it feels safe. And that makes sense, right? If we feel like there's a lion chasing us, like our body's not going to prioritize proper digestion. It's going to prioritize getting the heck out of Dodge and survival. So if our brain is perceiving some sort of threat or this chronic stress, this urgency, it actually diverts what we need to properly digest our food. And that results in gut issues. It results in things like IBS. It results in bloating. So you'll find that as you work to heal your nervous system, as you work to increase resilience in your nervous system, as you work to improve your neurological fitness, your gut health will also increase. Another physical symptom that's really common, headaches, migraines, intense PMS symptoms, things like brain fog or lack of focus. If you find that you are someone who walks into a room and forgot why you did, or you pick up your phone and you forgot what you were going to do with it, or you open the fridge and you're like, I know I was here to grab something, but I can't remember what it was. If you're just kind of walking around in this lack of focus and brain fog, or you're experiencing headaches, Those can be physical symptoms of nervous system dysregulation. It can also affect your sleep. So if you have issues falling asleep or staying asleep, or you're waking up during the night, if you find that you're like consistently waking up at 2, 3, 4 a.m. and have a really hard time going back to sleep, those are typically symptoms of nervous system dysregulation and high cortisol levels in your body. Fatigue. I know that so often we can chalk up this chronic tiredness and fatigue that we experience to just like motherhood, right? This is just what it's like to be a woman with children in business in this day and age. But I'm here to tell you that don't buy that lie. Don't buy that lie. Yes, I totally get it. If you have a newborn or you're in those early stages where your kids aren't sleeping through the night, that will obviously cause tiredness and exhaustion. And I get that. But if your children are sleeping through the night and you feel like you just cannot feel rested, right? No matter what you're doing, you get 8 hours of rest, you wake up exhausted. By 2 p.m., you are freaking exhausted and you feel like you can't even function or need a nap. Or by 7 p.m., you're like, I'm done for the day. Or you just kind of have that wired and tired feeling. Like you're like, I'm so freaking tired and I know I need rest, but my body feels really wired. That is also a symptom, a red flag that your nervous system is telling you, hey, you got to slow down. There's something here you've got to fix. This isn't working. And then the last one I want to talk about is a weakened immune system. Our nervous system and our immune system are really closely tied, you guys. So if our nervous system is experiencing dysregulation or chronic stress or perceived threats, it has an impact on our immune system. So if you find that you're frequently sick, right? You're like getting sick more often than other people, or if you're struggling with autoimmune conditions, it's very likely that if you, again, improved your neurological fitness and worked on regulating your nervous system, you would notice that your symptoms as it relates to just general sickness or the symptoms related to your autoimmune conditions would shift, that you would see an improvement. So that's number 2. These are some of the physical signs, the physical red flags that our nervous system is telling us, hey, I need some attention here. I need some help. I need you to help me regulate so that I'm not constantly on alert. I've got a question for you. Do you sometimes feel like you're more sensitive than other people? Does the routine stress of life just feel overwhelming? Maybe sometimes you feel like you could just tap out or run and hide. Are you really creative? You got this great imagination? Or maybe you feel like you're disconnected from your body or like you're a misfit here on earth. You might have thought that's just how you are. All these things are just part of your personality. But they're actually coping mechanisms that you've picked up over the course of your life, and they're having a huge impact on how you show up, especially in this motherhood journey. Are you curious to know more? You've got to take my personality patterns quiz. Here's what's going on. When you were a child, whenever an experience overwhelmed your nervous system, you subconsciously built a defense against that overwhelm. Over time, those defenses became a habit, then they became a pattern. Now, as an adult, what we think of as our personality is often this defense pattern running the show. It's interesting, right? There are 5 personality patterns. They're not personality types like the Enneagram or the Myers-Briggs, but rather they describe the safety strategies that you immediately go to when you start to feel overwhelmed. They don't describe who you are, but rather what is blocking who you are. The good news is that once you take my quiz and learn about your pattern, you can learn skills to break out of that pattern and live and parent your kids as your true and authentic self. Click on the quiz link in the show notes or go to michellegrosser.com/quiz now to take my 2-minute personality pattern quiz. Number 1 is that unusual sensory overload. Number 2 is some of these physical symptoms. And then number 3 are things in our behavior. Some behavior red flags. So we all know, like generally what our personality is like when we are well resourced, right? Like when I'm taking good care of myself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, I know what Michelle is like. Like Michelle is in great spirits. Michelle is positive. Michelle is patient. Michelle is kind. I'm compassionate. I have a good sense of humor. Stuff can just like roll off my back. I feel really resilient, right? Stuff can happen at work. I get a call from an opposing counsel, or like I have to go to this hearing and it doesn't really rattle me. I'm just like solid. I feel really resilient. And I also start to notice these behavior red flags when my nervous system is communicating with me that I'm actually not taking very good care of myself. If my self-care has started to fall, if I'm going at a pace that is not sustainable, if I'm doing too much, right? If I'm not moving my body, if I'm not nourishing and hydrating my body, if I'm not doing things that light me up and make me excited, I'll notice it in my behavior. And it's not fun, right? Like, have you guys ever had times where your partner, your spouse is like, dude, what's up with you today? Like when Jeff tells me that, I'm like, oh, snap. Because he's right? He's not being like mean. He's just like, dude, you're off today. And I'm just like, yes, thank you. I know I'm off. It sucks for me. It sucks for you. It sucks for the kids. And it's a red flag that there's something going on there beneath the surface that is asking for my attention. Because here's the truth, you guys. For me, for you, for our partners, for our children, for every single human being on this planet, there's a reason for everything we do. Everything we do or everything we don't do, there's a reason. Even if we're not aware of that reason, even if it is, unconscious or subconscious, there's a reason for everything we do. Everything we're doing is in service of some unmet need. It's just true. So if I am feeling irritable or edgy, if I notice that I am procrastinating or I'm like working a lot, keeping super busy, I have this sense of urgency, I have to be doing stuff 24/7, I'm having a hard time to slow down, I'm having a hard time to relax. If I notice that I'm like wanting to eat junk food, or maybe I'm like really looking forward to a glass of wine or having a margarita, or I notice that I'm really like disconnected, I'm just like spacing out and I'm experiencing this brain fog, all of this stuff, like that is unusual behavior for me, right? And a lot of times we can do these things and think like, I don't know, this is just part of my personality, or this is just stuff I have to live with, or this is just how it is, but it's not. It's not. Like if you're feeling irritable and edgy, that's your nervous system telling you there's something going on. If you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling lethargic, if you're feeling disconnected, if you're feeling any of these things, snappy, right? These are just ways in which your nervous system is communicating to you that you've got to take care of yourself. You've got to take care of yourself. There's a reason. And here's the thing is like, I think sometimes when we talk about this, it's like, yeah, fill up your cup so that you can turn around and like be the best mom and be the best wife. And your kids don't have, an angry mom or a yelling mom or an irritable mom. And like, yes to all of that. I love it. I'm here for it. And also because you freaking deserve it as a human being, as a woman, like you deserve to feel good in your body. You deserve to feel equipped. You deserve to feel passionate about things. You deserve to feel worthy. You deserve to feel all of these beautiful things, excited and joyful. And it's hard to do that when we're in a chronic state of stress, when we're living in dysregulation. So that's number 3, is just noticing that your behavior feels off, right? It's not a guilt thing. It's not a shame thing. It's just a communication. It's information being sent to you. Hey, it's a red flag, right? Pay attention, take care of yourself, get to the root of what's going on here. And if any of these ring true for you, or all of them maybe, like I want to help you guys. If I'm going through these 3 red flags and you're like, it's me, right? Like that one's me, she's talking to me, or these are all me, right? And I'm over it. I know there's more for me, right? I'm done feeling this way. I'm not bringing this anxiety, or I'm not bringing this irritability, or I'm not bringing these physical symptoms, or yelling at my kids all the time, or this people pleasing, or whatever it is. I'm not bringing it into 2024. Guys, that is a beautiful place to be, right? Put your foot down. Make a decision because you deserve better. You deserve better. You just need tools. You have the ability. You just need the tools and the coaching around it to bring safety to your system, work on those habits, right? That bring increased neurological fitness. And you're going to notice a difference in every single space of your life, right? Not just your mood, not just your physical body, not just your emotions, but it's going to have a huge impact on how you communicate, how you parent, all of your relationships, your workspace, your self-confidence. All of these things are rooted in a regulated nervous system. So if that sounds like a good commitment that you want to make for 2024, guys, book a free discovery call with me. There's a link in the show notes. It'll take you to my calendar, book a time. You and I will jump on a Zoom for 30 minutes, absolutely free. I want to hear what you're experiencing. I want to hear what's frustrating you, what's breaking your heart, what's just like, what's going on? And then I want to help you. And if one-on-one coaching feels aligned for you, we can talk about what that would look like. But if there's anything else I can do in the moment to help resource you, I would love to meet you one-on-one and talk about it. So go ahead, you can click the link in the show notes, book a free discovery call with me. That would be awesome. I would love to see your face. All right, that's what I've got for you guys. 3 nervous system red flags you as a mom shouldn't ignore. If you're noticing unusual sensory overload, if you're noticing kind of these unexplained physical symptoms, or some behavior red flags that don't feel that you know are not you, it's a good indication that you've got to get curious about what's going on in your nervous system. I love you all so much. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.
If you love Mommy's Podcast, leave a review.
If you enjoyed this episode, it would be so awesome if you could take a moment to subscribe and rate the podcast. And if you have just a few more seconds to leave a quick review, they really help to get this podcast out to other moms like you. I read every last review, and trust me, when it's late at night or early in the morning before my kids get up and I'm working on bringing you all of this content, your reviews are what keep me going. Leaving a review is truly the best way you can thank me. And of course, DM me on Instagram. I love to hear from you. Thanks for listening to another episode. Head over to the show notes for this episode and all past episodes at michellegrosser.com, where you'll find free resources and more ways to connect with me. If you love the show, share it with a friend. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you next time.